Okay, so we're going to ask you to mute your phones. And when we ask for motions to approve, when you approve, would you please state who you are so we have the right name for the right approval? Okay, good morning, everyone. First thing I want to say is the importance of attending our meetings. As the Workforce Development Board laws say, we need to have a majority of appointed members of the board to constitute a quorum for the transaction of business at all board meetings and designated committee meetings. So if we all joined at the right time, then we wouldn't have to wait a few minutes. So again, just everyone, please make sure that you're going to be here with us. Let us know, and please try and be on time. We're going to move on to the Ethics, Awareness, and Conflict of Interest Statement. In accordance with the State Government Ethics Act, it is the duty of every board member to avoid both conflicts of interest and appearances of conflict. Does any board member have any known conflict of interest or appearance of conflict with respect to any of the matters coming before the board today? If so, please identify the conflict or appearance of conflict and refrain from any undue participation in the particular matter involved. Okay, we're going to move on to the approval of the minutes from the May 12th Executive Committee meeting. Can I get a motion to approve those, or do we need a few minutes to review them?
This is Diana. I make a motion to approve as sent.
Okay, need a second?
Second by Nina Schmita.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay, we're going to move to accept those. And then we're going to need a motion for the approval of the May 19th board meeting. Again, I need a motion to approve.
This is Diana. I make a motion to approve as sent.
A second?
This is Nora. I second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we're going to move to approve those minutes as well. Okay, we're going to ask Tracy to go ahead and give us a director's report.
Okay, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I'll start with contract updates. As you know, Two Hawk Workforce Services has been our provider for one-stop operator and center manager. The county extended that contract that was existing for an additional 3 months. And then we had an RFP that went out, and Two Hawk also was chosen as the provider for workforce services. We've actually started out with a 3-month initial contract. Basically, what these two things do it allows the county to complete normal contracts for all of these services. We're a little different because we're set up as a county and we have some extra processes that our vendors typically have to go through. So it takes a little more time. So we're hoping to get these before the Board of Commissioners sometime in August. They don't meet in July, so that was another factor in terms of just being able to get things moving and get things introduced to the process. As far as Golden Leaf Grant, with the regional grants that went out, there was one that Workforce had applied for and offered to assist with. That was the Nursing Pipeline Grant. In hindsight, after looking at that, it was discussed and it was determined that that really would be a better fit with the Southern Regional Area Health Education Center located here in Fayetteville. We went into discussions with them and conversations, and they were very interested in taking on that grant. So what we did is we went to the Board of Commissioners and asked for their approval to recommend that Golden Leaf award that grant to KAC, basically. So that has happened, and that has moved over to their wheelhouse. So we're looking forward to them starting that process. As far as the building lease update, I think everybody is familiar with the fact that we've been looking at a new site, a new facility. And for those of you that may not remember, the location is proposed to be 490 North McPherson Road. So kind of down the road from Luigi's, across the street from Mount Max Steakhouse, if you're familiar with that area here in Fayetteville. The lease will be held by the state. Some of the other partners will be sub-lessees like the county. Although it will have, it appears, smaller square footage, it's going to have some better functionality and better location. So our staff are working with the architect on the interior design and the renovations. They are telling us that it should be 6 months to make the renovations. Once construction starts, it's always kind of a caveat, right? So we'll see where that goes and how long that takes. I would anticipate it taking a little bit longer than 6 months based on what I've heard, but time will tell. We'll see what happens. So that's our report for this morning. If you have any questions about anything, these items or others, I'm glad to try to answer your questions for you.
Does anybody have any questions? I do have a question, Tracy. Do we have a tentative start date on the construction, or do we not even know that?
We don't. It's actually just moved through the Attorney General's office of the state. They have to do their legal review on the lease agreement. That's my understanding. And so we're still in the design phase at this point. So once they finish that, I would anticipate they'd come out with a construction schedule.
Right. We met with the architect about 2 weeks ago, and the plans, our final plan, we're waiting for him to get that over. Once we approve that, then it will go to the engineer from there, and I'm assuming that's when we will get our date.
So we probably won't even look at starting construction towards maybe January.
Right.
That's what I'm, okay. Okay, well, we'll keep us posted.
Right, definitely.
Anybody have any other questions? Okay, we're moving on. We're going to talk to Peggy. She's going to tell us about the MOU and the infrastructure funding agreement.
Good morning, everyone. The NC Works first sent out a memorandum of understanding and partner infrastructure funding agreements. Documents were sent out via email for your reference and review. The Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act, WIOA, Section 121C1, requires each local workforce development board with the agreement of the chief elected official to develop and enter into the MOU between the local board and one-stop partners, as well as the sharing and allocation of the infrastructure costs related to the NC Works Career Centers. The MOU is required every 3 years unless there are required revisions within that time frame. And the IFA and infrastructure agreement is required once annually. These documents are required at this point required to obtain the signatures of the required partners and then submit to the state no later than September 30th of this year. So this time we're requesting the board's approval to move forward with obtaining those required signatures, which will then be also submitted to the board of commissioners for their approval.
Anybody have any questions on that? Okay, if not, then we need a motion to approve.
This is Diana. I make a motion to approve.
Second?
This is Kevin, and I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Aye. I like the hand being raised. Thank you. Any opposed? So moved. Okay, thank you, Peggy. Okay, now we're going to talk about the next approval action item is the policy changes. I know Cindy sent out 2 separate emails, I believe, with all the policy updates. Most of them reflect that Tracy is the interim director. A few of them did have some minor changes. That is policy 1, policy 4, policy 5, policy 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 17, 18, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 29, 30, and 32. So I'm going to ask for any questions before we go on to approve. If anyone has any questions on any of these, please let us know.
So, Madam Chair, this is Mark Sorrells. In the future, it would be helpful if we use track changes or something to show where those changes were made. It was a little hard for me to determine what modifications were made to the policies. It just make it easier from a reviewer standpoint to do that if it's possible.
I thought that we did do the marked one, plus we did a summary. I think that they sent out a summary just indicating what changes were taking place on that particular policy.
And it may have been the way I was reviewing. I was having to review it off my own, which won't show track changes often. So that may be on my end. It was.
And then we will make sure that we always do that. And again, we'll always make sure to send out a summary that just kind of recaps the changes for that particular policy. So hopefully that will make it easier. But if you do have a problem when you're going through these, please let us know, because we don't know if you can't see it. So I apologize, Dr. Zorld. So does anyone have any questions on them? Okay, if no one has any questions, then I make a motion, I ask for a motion to approve all the policy changes that I just mentioned.
Dr. Sorrells, so moved.
I need a second.
This is Diana. I second the motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any opposed? Okay, motion approved. All right, thank you. All right, now we're going to turn it over to Sherwood. We're going to ask him to do a presentation about the Two-Hawk Workforce Services. Sherwood?
Okay, thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Great. We had some audio technical difficulties on my end this past Friday with the youth committee, and I had to use all my expertise, so to speak, to get hooked back in. So I'm glad we're all online today. I wanted to go over the presentation that you've been sent previously, just talk with you about workforce services and what we do. Basically completing the mission, and we see it as integration without complication. Next slide, please. Just an overview for those of you that may not know exactly who we are. Our parent company is Two-Hawk Employment Services. We're based in Lumberton. We've been in operation in that business basically 20 years, full array of employment and contingent staffing services. We're a certified minority-owned business. We employ roughly 900 plus individuals on any given week across the state. We began our workforce service operation in 2014 with Lumber River, operating in 4 counties. We've seen significant growth and expansion since then. Currently now operating workforce contracts with 8 workforce boards across North Carolina, which represents about 20 counties and 14 different types of contracts. And we have been doing center operations management in Cumberland County for the past 3 years. I'm looking forward to moving ahead with this year also in that same type of contract. Next slide, please. A little bit about our strengths and our mission focus. Our strengths, as you can see, we do have experience in total operations, both private sector and public governmental. So we understand the needs of both of those arenas. We're experienced in levels of workforce development, i.e. center management, service delivery, physical accuracy, performance, accountability, facilities, and personnel. We look at our mission focus as perfecting and crafting what has been started, a full integration of services with team members, and we'll talk about that a little bit further into the slide. We maximize cooperation in the work environment while establishing a clear accountability in all our activities. You'll hear us talk about accountability and productivity a great deal. We focus a lot on that. Reinforcing team members is a focus we have. We must be versed and capable of delivering the majority of center services through all the team members that are in the center. We believe in strengthening business outreach efforts, while also establishing accountability for that service delivery. We need to know that we are accomplishing that particular goal and that particular mission. We see our mission as furthering the center's community presence, being out there more, doing more outreach, seeing more people and touching more lives, and being fully prepared and ready for a service demand that we see occurring after this COVID-19 situation moves on and we're having to deal with the folks coming back in. Next slide, please. This slide will give you some idea of our experience, our knowledge, and our accountability capabilities. I won't go through and read every one of these. You can see the names on there and a brief description about what they are. We do have myself, Lindsay Allens, our Assistant Director for Program Administration Operations. Debbie Normandia has joined us as Assistant Director, and she focuses on program performance and quality. Aletha Poole is one of our contract managers. Aletha's been with us since the beginning, quite frankly, and has been moved up and is operating or overseeing two of our major contracts, one of which is Cumberland County. Neil Anderson has also joined us as a contract manager, and Neil brings a lot of center management experience, but he's also overseeing a number of other contracts, and we've actually added another contract manager for the western part of the state, Kristen Robinson, who oversees work that we're doing in Gaston County and in Region C out in, like I said, the western part of the state. Next slide, please. Our philosophy, our principles, we believe in three key things: leadership with vision, collaboration, and management integrity. We focus a lot on system rules and guidelines. We are prudent in our planning and execution of our service delivery by the center, and we try to make it such that the management team actually leads the center, the local management team. We want to maximize one-stop relevance and productivity based on solid planning and work, and a re-emphasis on productivity at all levels. That, again, you will hear us talk about that more and more. We believe we need to be productive on all our contracts, as well as the center as a whole. As far as collaboration, we work to build viable, realistic partnerships. We ensure partners can be successful working with the center. Basically, are their key deliverables being achieved also? It's hard for a partner to buy in totally if what they need to achieve for their own mission isn't being attainable. So we need to work and keep that in mind as we have discussions with all partners as we move along. We do look at clear, open, and reasonable communication between the partners, and we coordinate that through the center manager. We think that person is the convener of that type atmosphere, that environment. And we establish professional and clear performance expectations with all the team members. Again, everyone knows what they need to achieve, what they need to produce, so that the center as a whole is productive and successful. And last but not least is our management integrity. All center operations are always conducted with a high level of integrity. All staff are expected to conduct themselves ethically in all the center functions and operations. And we do have an increased internal monitoring presence that we look at for both physical and programmatic areas. Next slide. This next slide talks a little bit about our integration. The total service delivery does not have to be difficult, as I say, integration without complication. We do focus on total staff training. It is our belief that all staff members need to be fully aware of the services that go on in a center or can be provided. That's not to say that every team member has to be an expert in all those services. In fact, it's not necessarily the best way to operate a center. What you want to do is work on the coordination, and this is something we've been talking with all the team members and the board staff for some time now, since basically end of April, 1st of May. How we manage to focus back on putting people to work, connecting people with training services and retraining that they need, but also making sure that there are smooth, consistent, easy handoffs within the center when staff recognize that an individual customer needs additional assistance or can get provided some other service from another partner. We don't need to make those connections difficult. We need to make them smooth. And if we do that, then we're creating basically individual one-stop shops within each staff member. And that's what we're striving to do. Again, they won't be experts in every piece of the service delivery, but they will know what the services are and how to connect them best on those things that they're not actual subject matter experts. All the teams in the center, we believe, do meet productivity expectations, and we'll have accountability again through the center management operation, where all that information is combined. And then a close coordination, as I said earlier, with business service functions, especially with work-based learning opportunities, on-the-job training, work experience, those type of things. And we've already been coordinating, had some preliminary meetings with Teddy and talking about work-based learning and work experience and just giving business services a bigger focus, if you will, with the center getting out to the business community in Cumberland County. And the diagram that you see along the right is basically just the way we see everything merging together and coming together as one. Youth services, adult services, business services, and center management basically coordinating all those things together. Next slide, please. Strengthening the system foundation. This is something we have talked again with board staff. We've had discussions with Tracy about this. We want to integrate staff training with team members every week, providing them tools. We have to build that programmatic and that service delivery understanding with each team member. Again, not so much that they're all subject matter experts on everything, but in their expertise, they need to be experts. In their non-expertise, they need to be very knowledgeable about the type of services and what might be available to those customers. Again, so they make those very smooth connections, and we don't lose anyone that needs our services. We've talked about establishing productivity expectations for the center, the teams, and the team members. And we want to communicate that early on, and we're working on that. Again, board staff has been very willing to sit down and talk with the team members we've had on board so far. We're getting close to that now, and where we can get our goals lined up and everybody knows what those are. We appreciate that. Professionalism and respect for all the team members, their opinions, their concerns. We want to give that its due diligence every day, all the time. However, at the end of the day, at the close of the business, the decision driver must always be customer satisfaction and quality service delivery. We want to take everybody into account. We want to hear what they got to say. But at the end, we've got to focus on our customers and the quality of what we are doing in the center. And that's the way we look at strengthening foundations. We want to ensure also that center business is conducted with accuracy, with accountability, and frankly, a conservative dependability. And we do, frankly, we are guided by myself, so to speak, and I am very, shall we say, risk averse. So I have a conservative approach to things, yet we do seek new ways of delivering services. And we're open to that, but we just try to make sure we're doing it in the right way so that everybody benefits and we protect everybody. Next slide, please. I put in a slide here about the firewall, I have previously provided some documentation to Tracy on the firewall that we use. And I see the firewall, and we see the firewall as just what I've got here, a person or a thing or an event that acts as a barrier of protection against something undesirable. And that can be many things. What we want to do is be successful, because in our business, we see success as profitability. And I don't mean to equate that we want to be successful and make money, although we are a for-profit group. But if we're successful in the center, and the center producing and meeting its numbers and that type of thing, then the center becomes a profitable situation. That's the way it determines its profitability. So we take that business view of how to gauge and measure profitability and productivity at the same time in the center. Staff and partner success directly impacts on our success. So we want them to be part of the team. We want them to feel comfortable. We want them to play an integral role. We organize the center management team to ensure all center functions mitigate, again, risk and ensure overall success. I will say that on the slide you're looking at, there have been some changes since this slide was originally developed when we were making original presentations to the selection committee. And the center manager basically reports to our corporate management, which is me. Lindsay Allman, our assistant director, stands in when I'm not available, but primarily our center managers, where we have those contracts, report directly to me. WRA operations manager, the supervisor, if you will, on site in Cumberland County, will report directly to Aletha Poole, who is our contract manager. So we've got the separation there. And then our contract managers report to Lindsay, our director of operations. So we try to put in a system where each party has separate reporting, but at the same time, we can still oversee and be engaged in all aspects of what needs to happen, but without any conflicting interests. We still want to meet the productivity goals of WLA and with center management, for instance. That individual, Ashley, in her role as center manager, has to have a more overview, a greater overview, if you will, of the center, because her responsibility is to ensure all the partners and all the team members are successful, not just one. So we try to approach it that way. And our approach for our goals, we want to continue to enhance the integrated service delivery. We do that, as I've said, through a little different approach with regard to working with all the staff, not necessarily expecting them all to be full subject matter experts, but to have an expertise across the board in their knowledge. We want to strengthen those business services connections, and we talked about that earlier, our service delivery and accountability. We definitely want to improve WLA service delivery and connectivity with both staff and customers. We've had some discussion on that with board staff, with Tracy, with team members, and we believe we can make a bigger impact with folks and make better connections and be more productive and achieve performance standards better with making some improvements. We want to increase that community outreach, places like DSS, community-based organizations, the faith community, those type places to access more customers and effectively try to get out and meet them where they are. I think that's going to be a big thing, particularly as we transition through the COVID-19 situation and protocols that we'll find ourselves dealing with. And then we want to provide you, the board members, with more refined information regarding services, the challenges that we run into, and achievements, quite frankly. So we're trying to take an overall approach to meeting all goals, but also giving you a service and a program that you can be proud of and will be respected across the state. Next slide, please. Moving forward, again, a few updates to this. Where we are today, the majority of staff, once we've got an okay to move ahead from the county, We have been able to get a majority of the staff hired. Training actually began July 13th, this past Monday. We have some final folks that came on with us yesterday, I believe, and they're continuing or beginning their training and catching up with the others. We have our WLA operations manager, our supervisor, if you will, that will be starting on the 27th. She's working out a 2-week notice, and is coming to us from Connecticut, operating a fairly major program up there for one of our competitors. So we're pleased on that. And then our WLA experienced staff, we've already taken steps to get them access to NC Works. And the board staff has been very helpful in helping us with that, getting that step done, because once we get that, we've got some experienced staff members that are coming with us, some that we brought in from our existing operation, and have moved into this project, and have moved into this project. Deep dive into to see where we're at exactly, because a lot of those files have not been touched significantly since the end of April, and that's something we've got to get on, and we will be doing that right away. Establishing contacts with customers, providing services, those kind of things. As far as opportunity to grow or opportunities to grow, we want to ensure this year in particular that management focuses equally on results versus a strict focus on process. Process is important, but we don't want to meet to death. We want to meet, figure out what we're going to do, and then focus on getting the results from that. We want to expand virtual services. That's going to be paramount again during COVID-19 and as we transition through that. We've already taken steps on doing some training this week, started this week, with our WLA staff on virtual enrollments. And there's a process that the state has put out earlier. We are already familiar with it. And so we're getting ready, we're doing a training. Aletha's been working with our staff now this week and last week on that virtual process so that we can go ahead and start engaging customers in a virtual manner, following state policy and parameters on how to make those enrollments happen. And then we'll be working with more intentional focus on business services. As a matter of fact, we are trying to set up, I believe we're going to have a meeting tomorrow with Teddy and others, focusing on business services and focusing on training as far as the leadership, financial literacy, work-based learning, those type of things that we can also add and bring to our WLA operations, both adult and youth together. Next slide. And that concludes our presentation. Again, we see this integration without complication. We believe we've got a really good start at this point. We've been able to really focus on training both last week and this week. We were trying to acclimate everyone. So we appreciate the opportunity to work with Cumberland County. We will be working for you, and we will be talking to you regularly. But we appreciate the opportunity just to present today. If you've got any questions, I've got Aletha with me today. I know Debbie's on the line. I believe Lindsay was, but she's had to leave for another appointment. But we're on the line, so we'll be glad to answer any questions you might have.
Sure, thank you. We look forward to working with you and Lindsay and Debbie and Aletha and Neil in furthering the mission and the goals that the center has for our participants and for our employers. So thank you. Does anyone have any questions for Sherwood? No? Okay. Well, thank you again, Sherwood and team.
Thank you.
Last item that we have on the agenda is nominations for a vice chair. As you all know, Rodney's term ended a couple months ago, and with all the COVID stuff, we really haven't done anything about it. So we are looking to have all members receive an email for nomination by the end of July. Cindy is going to send out a ballot with the nominations, and then we're going to ask for a final vote by the end of August. So we're looking for a vice chair. Anyone is interested in the position, please reach out to me or to Cindy. But in the meantime, if all of you can kind of go over our member list and nominate someone via email to Cindy for the position of vice chair. And if anyone does have questions on what that is, you know, and you have a little bit of interest, please feel free to reach out to me and we can talk about it. But we definitely need to have a vice chair by the next meeting. So I would appreciate you guys doing that. Any other questions that anybody might have? Anybody in here? Hold on, we can't hear you. Hold on. Okay, try again.
By chat.
Yeah, but you can send it by chat or text me. You typing it in? Oh, yes. The vice chair has to be from the private sector. Thank you, John. Anyone have anything else? Okay, next board meeting is Tuesday, September 15th at 11 o'clock. Not sure if it's going to be virtual or not, but put that date on your calendar. And with that, I guess we will make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
This is Diana. I make a motion to adjourn.
You a second?
This is Lee, second.
Yes, second.
This is Tony, second.
Okay, thank you. I got you. Sherry. This was Sherry. Sherry, are you on?
I'm on. I second, or many of us did.
Thank you. Did anybody else join us other than Sherry while we were meeting?
Yeah, Tony McKinnon joined during the meeting.
Okay, thank you, Tony. Okay, I guess the meeting is adjourned. The motion has been approved. And you guys have a great week. And we will see you in September. Thank you, everyone.